We're so excited to have you all here joining us today, and we're thrilled to bring this amazing group of practitioners together from organizations in our Girls Opportunity Alliance network. My name is Tiffany Drake, and I'm the Executive Director of the Girls Opportunity Alliance at the Obama Foundation. And our mission is to empower adolescent girls around the world through education. The organizations here with us today all focus on ensuring that girls are at the center of their work. And today we'll hear from them about their response to the COVID-19 pandemic and how it has changed girls' education. We'll also hear from them how they're centering girls in their work to transform their lives and communities. We will also have a chance to open it up to questions at the end from all of you. So please add your questions into the chat as you think of them, and we'll get to as many as we can at the end. Now, I would love for our esteemed panelists to introduce themselves and to let us know where they're from, the organizations they work with, and their missions. So let's start with Aniceta Queiriga from Women's Global Education Project. Aniceta? Aniceta, are you there?
I'm sorry, yes. I am Aniceta Queiriga from Kenya, founder and director of the Raka Women's Welfare Program, which has been partnering with Women's Global Education Project from 2007 to date. We are in the eastern part of Kenya, and we have been collaborating on ending FGM, or female genital mutilation, and empowering girls through education.
Thank you, Aniceta. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Now let's go to Deborah Namugenyi from the Asante Africa Foundation.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so delighted and humbled to be part of this forum of discussion. My name is Deborah Namugenyi, the Gender Programs Coordinator, Asante Africa Foundation. I'll give a brief highlight about Asante Africa Foundation. We are an implementing organization operating in the rural Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. We empower the youth through the school to see that they achieve their dreams. We have empowered our youth we have transformed their lives, or we have transformed over 600,000 lives of the youth, whereby 93% are making transitions from primary to secondary, 77% are making transitions to higher institutions of learning or universities, and 93% are also getting jobs with the skills they learn from our programs. 100% of the youth are paying it forward in their local communities to see that they change their local communities and the whole world around them. So I'm so delighted to be part of this forum today. Thank you.
We're so thrilled that you're here with us. Thank you, Deborah. Now let's turn to Grace Marika from Wiser Girls.
Thank you, Tiffany. It's great. I'm working with Wiser NGO. This is an organization. I'm working as a country manager with Wiser NGO, and Wiser NGO basically works with rural girls in a remote area in Western Kenya, a fishing community, to empower them so that they can be able to overcome challenges that hinder their access to key issues around health, education, and safety. So it's great to be part of this discussion and part of this panel.
Thank you, Grace. And last but certainly not least, we have Yolanda Mtamba from Age Africa.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everywhere you are, depending on which part of the continent you are. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm Yolanda Mtamba from Age Africa, and Age Africa is operating in Malawi, which is the southern part of Africa. And Age Africa, we provide comprehensive scholarship education to adolescent girls in secondary school, public secondary schools, and we also see them through to ensure that they transition to tertiary education, and we provide support for post-secondary education as well, and including the support that we provide with the champions of the Life Skills Program, which we deliver through creating health approaches to success, which provide a safe space for girls to ensure that they advocate for the issues that affect them most. So in Malawi, we are the champion of this model that provide the best solution to the girls to speak for themselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So now I'd like to start with discussing the pandemic. And this has impacted students all over the world, but most critically girls. And I'd like to know from all of you, what are the new challenges related to your work due to COVID-19? Yolanda, can we start with you?
Yes, the COVID-19 pandemic, I think, shocked all of us globally, and it gives us some new challenges to the education sector, especially the challenges that some of them were there, but some was just so new, and others were just exacerbated by the pandemic. So to say that most of the disadvantaged girls really faced a lot of challenges because of the school closure. Most education institutions were closed, which really affected our service delivery. As you can see, as Age Africa said, we provide comprehensive sexual education, but also school supplies and learning materials. So it was very difficult for our organization to provide the support that we provide in person to the students because students were at home. And also it was so challenging to provide the life skills program in school because students were at home. So it forced the organization to re-image its programming to ensure that we should be able to provide the services to the girls. So even if we managed to reach some wins by providing the same services to the girls, but it was not easy to reach each and every girl in the rural communities to support them with the learning materials and also to provide the school support and later on to deliver the life skills program. So I would say that it was really a big challenge for our organization. The other challenge that we saw was not very new as such, but it was increased, was the gender inequalities in education. We saw a lot of girls having so difficulties to learn. Our government provided some learning platforms, the online learning platforms, but in my country, if you talk of radios, phones, televisions, they're normally owned by either men or boys. So for the girls, they were pushed to the kitchen or to do domestic work instead of studying. So we saw a lot of girls struggling to reach the online platforms that were being provided, or for them to listen to the radio programs that are being aired out, because surely there's that gender inequalities that exist in the communities and in the homes. And we saw also some increase in mental health issues. As we were doing our home visits to follow up to the girls, they really shared the testimonies that the anxiety, the depression, and the stress that they're facing in homes, it's so unbearable, and they don't have anyone else to talk to. Most of our students, they're either the first generation to go to secondary school and maybe later on to universities. So in their homes, they're like role models. So they didn't have anyone else to talk to or to ask about something else that they're studying at home. So those things increase the depression in them, anxiety, and also anyway missing just their friends, their teachers, and the school environment. It really affected their mental health. So as Age Africa, we kept on providing the psychosocial support, but that wasn't not maybe something that can reach to them like the way they can get it when they are with their colleagues at school. The other issue that was really increased with the pandemic was the digital gender gap or divide. I already earlier on said that most of these technologies, they're much used by our male counterparts, and for our girls, number one, it was for them to access or to have the gadgets. that's just so poor to find maybe phones or radios to learn or to get some materials that are being provided through digital platforms. So it was challenging for them to get the access to connectivity to internet, to get the data. And also most of these girls are from the rural areas where they don't even have electricity. So what it meant was that even if you provide the support, they have to walk long distances, maybe 5-6 kilometers just to charge a phone. So it was just so difficult for them, even though some of the technologies were being provided. And in terms of the technology as well, the gap that we noticed was that in some other areas where government really provided the platform for learning, but some of these platforms, it was very new for them. Talk of Google Class, talk of maybe WhatsApp, Zoom. It was just a language that they don't understand because they don't have knowledge to use computers, laptops, and phones and all that. So there was just too much that came at once, and that hinders access to education for most of the girls. And lastly, we saw increase in sexual violence, gender-based violence, and increase in most of the girls turned into breadwinners, as well as most of them were turned into more or less like domestic workers. We had an incident in one of the communities where one of our beneficiaries was sent by the parents to work as a nanny, and she's just 13 years old. But for them, it was like, you are the only hope who can be able to go out and to work and be able to bring some resources or some food on the table. So it was really challenging. Most girls really were exposed to child labor, and some of them were victims of violence, sexual violence, domestic violence, and also increase of digital cyber was also some of the issues that we noticed from the girls, that if they get access to phones, then there were some violence being approached by adults just because now they have access to the phones and internet just for the sake of learning. So we saw a lot of challenges that the pandemic brought in, which were just an addition to the challenges that we already face with the girls to access college education. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Grace, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I want to concur with what Yolanda has contributed and had discussion. And basically one of the things that came out and was escalated during this period is the economic burden upon the parents and also the guardians, and basically around the families. And one of the things is that we had, for example, in Kenya, we had the government bringing restrictions on movement. And with this restriction, then it meant that families were not able to really get into their daily activities that were bringing in a source of income, and taking into consideration that we work in an area where we have the main source of income is fishing, and this could not be done at night because there are already restrictions on this. So we saw families struggling to be able even to put a meal on the table. And with schools closure, it meant that children were at home, and these families now had to get in and really support them. And this even became even worse because we are looking at an area where most of the families are living, basically the average earning per day is just $1, around just above $1. So how do they now come in and even cater for this? And with WISA, this is one of the things that we really came in even as a program, and come in with an intervention that would ensure that we are able to create and even cushion our girls and their families so that they can be able to really continue with their normal life. And this was through offering relief packages. So these relief packages were able to give them food and even supply them with hygienic supplies, because one of the challenges again around this is you find that when there is an economic burden, what happens? The girl child is the one who really bears the brunt of this burden. And we had, for example, we had a time when we undertook an FGD, and some of the girls were reporting that there is more pressure on them even to engage in transactional sex so that they can be able to fend for their family. So how do we ensure then that during this period when the schools which are supposed to offer a safety net for them then they are not in school. So how do we ensure the girls at home then are catered for and they do not engage in such risky behavior? So this was one of the ways that we were able to do it. And generally also having home visits, engaging with the girls and just being in touch with them when they would come in and even collect the relief packages. This was an opportunity also to really educate them and continue with sessions on sexual and reproductive health, so that we continue, giving them the life skills that they require, even in such maybe a hostile community where you'd really have pressure even on cultural issues. So the other thing that we observed was with the online remote learning, that most of them, again, could not be able even to access the internet. Some of them did not even have the phones. So just working with the community, working with the Parents Teachers Association, ensuring that they are able to access such gadgets, and also just following learning, which also helped even engaging them and keeping them busy, avoiding instances where they would be lured into other, risky behaviors. So a lot of challenges that came up, and which we're still looking at, and basically changing of our way of even doing our interventions and extending to a point where we are looking at sustainability for the families. How do they, ensure that even during this period, they are there to even create that safety net for the girls and to ensure that they are able even to continue with their lives. So basically, those are some of the challenges that we faced, and getting reports even on increase on teenage pregnancies, engagement in child labor, as Ulanda has shared. So again, a lot happening within the community, and really requiring us to step up and ensure that we are able to support them.
Thank you, Grace. Now, I think it's important to discuss the interventions that your organizations employ to help girls become change agents. So I'd like to know what interventions work. Deborah, could we start with you?
Thank you, Tiffany. So as Asante Africa Foundation, we are trying to make sure that girls are at the center of becoming change agents through establishing the girl-led school-based clubs. What do I mean by girl-led school-based clubs? The girls take active role in making sure that they lead the clubs, and our clubs have a composition of both boys and girls. They are established at the school with a ratio of 60 to 40 girls to boys. What is the main purpose of having these clubs established at the school? The reason is to instill the leadership skills or abilities within these girls, to start now, not to wait when they go outside there. Because I mean, if we need to have good leaders of tomorrow, we need to begin now. So as Asante Africa Foundation, we established the girl-led school-based clubs at their various schools so that we can instill the aspect of leadership abilities. And we have also made interventions using our curriculum, where we have a set of social life skills we empower with these young boys and girls. The life skills that we share with them include the communication skills, the decision-making skills, the confidence skills. You realize that when we share with them this information or with them this knowledge, they will make informed decisions. They will go back to their families, their communities, and be able to step up and speak with confidence, with all the ability to communicate whatever they want to air out there. We have a story of one of our beneficiaries, Sarah. If people were able to see the video which was running at the beginning, Sarah was able to share through the decision-making skills. She was able to go back into her grandmother, talk to her, because they have a farm, but they are yielding the products from the farm, and they don't know where they are going to take the surplus. So they started a small market where they can sell the surplus. So as an organization, we are making sure that these girls, they get the social life skills. Getting the social life skills will help them to go back, because I mean, in Africa, when you are young, you're not allowed at times to give your opinion to the elders, but now they are here, they are able to air out their views, their opinions, their families, their communities. So as an organization, we have made interventions in that. We have also tried to promote good health lifestyles, whereby girls are coming out through our skill development trainings. We always conduct trainings for these young boys and girls. If we do the trainings, we expect them to go out there, also try to implement what we have taught them. So what we have been doing is to teach these young girls in making different trainings in different activities, like making the home reusable sanitary pads. As an organization, we give the pads, but I mean, look at the situation right now. Our girls are in different areas. We don't know where they are. We cannot reach out even to some of them. But if we have the sustainability part of it, think of how these girls, if they are not in our hands, if we cannot not reach out to them, how are they going to survive the issues of, do they have a pad? They don't. So we were thinking of the sustainability part of it, and we conducted those trainings of making the home reusable sanitary pads. And it has worked, because I mean, they learn, they go back, they teach their family members within, they also teach their friends within the communities, and they are earning still out of the activities. So it's so interesting how it's impacting their lives. And we have also tried to, health-wise, to look at the fact that they need the soap, and we were thinking of, we always conduct trainings in making the soap, the liquid soap, the bar soap, to make sure that at least they can also, because this home reusable pad, you need to wash it, and what are you going to use to wash it? You need the soap. So we have that aspect of, okay, let us also try to teach you how to make the soap, and they have learned how to do that. They are out there in the community earning money out of it. So we are also creating income generating activities out of this. I mean, we have
Deborah, I'm going to jump in real quick so I can give Aniseta a turn here as well. Aniseta, can I turn it over to you? Aniseta, are you there? You might be on mute.
Yes, it's my computer. Sorry. Thank you. We have been working on eradicating FGM, because that is one of the things that hinder girls from going to school. That has been our major program. And due to that, we saw that we have to do something so that we can help the girls understand what is FGM, why traditionally it is practiced, why they should not go through it, and that goes through a process. So what we did, we discovered or we initiated a strategy called the Alternative Rite of Passage, or ARP, where girls are secluded for 1 week, unlike the traditions where they are secluded for a whole month. And then after the week, the last day is a ceremonial day, just like the traditions used to ceremonize when girls came out of the house after healing. And then during this day, that's when very important people come around, their friends come, their parents come, their grandparents come, to give them the social status and accept them as girls who now know things, who are not regarded as girls who do not know anything, to be part of the members of the community, and who are empowered during that seclusion to do many things, to be assertive, to use assertive communication when it comes to their relationships with their peers, with the boys or the others, how to relate with the members of the community, because that's a traditional approach. And we have to teach them how to be comfortable and to be, to be seen by the members of the community as people who have changed, as girls who are now look like they can think for themselves, and girls who are going to school, who are emphasizing school to their parents, who are saying no to their grandparents and telling them education is better. So our strategy is to empower girls to say no to FGM and say yes to education and to girls' empowerment. By doing this, very many girls have not been accessing school. So with the partnership from Women's Global Education Program, Together with the ARP strategy, we have offered scholarships to the girls from DD families to access education. These are places where education for women has been very low. The percentage is very low. The mothers are illiterate, and therefore they have to be helped. These are rural places where the rains are never enough, and we trust on the rains to have, food stuff in the farm. We do subsistence farming, and that is what is used to pay the school fees and to cater for everything. That is what is sold so that the household can get anything. We do also have mentorship where we invite motivational speakers to come and speak to the girls during occasions and talk about, their careers and assertiveness and what it takes for a woman from this community to stand in front of men and talk and speak. And during this time, we tell them to raise their voices, to say anything they want to say, because they are girls and they are women and they are creatures on this earth who has the same ratio of anything, just like the boy. And then we have the clubs in primary schools for the young boys and girls, where they learn their rights and they start accepting each other as an equal. So the girl sees the boy as an equal, and at home they go along assisting one another, like fetching water. The boy is fetching firewood, the other one is taking cows or goats to the graveyard and things like that. We also have adult literacy, where the moms who have not gone to school are assisted to learn and understand what is needed by education so that they can support their girls to go through that education and to stand with them when issues arise, like defilement, like taking them to the children's office, or even bringing them back to our office for consultation, and even going to look for mentors. Yeah, those are some of the things that you've done.
Thank you for that. And I'd like to jump to the next question. So what is the importance of engaging girls and community stakeholders in confronting these challenges? Yolanda, would you like to take this one?
Thank you very much, Tiffany. First and foremost, let me say that as my colleague Senator just presented, that the girls have got the strongest voice. If you empower them, they are able to say what they want, what they need, and what works better for them. So it is very important to recognize that as we are trying to empower and educate girls, there are stakeholders that are very critical that we need to engage and to ensure that we solicit their views. But the most important actors, they are the beneficiaries themselves, who are the girls themselves. So it's very important to ensure that all our interventions, anything that we do, we put the girls at the center stage, because they're the ones who are able to know exactly what type of interventions works better for them. I'll give an example that we're talking about the digital platforms, how to deliver maybe school materials to the girls. It's important to talk to them to understand really which medium works for them, which mode of delivery really suits for them, so that they can be able to be free and to use that. So the girls themselves are the important actors in everything else that we do in the communities, in our schools, and they should be at the center of our interventions. The other key stakeholders that are very crucial and important are also the parents. Many of the times that as we've been working in the communities, sometimes you find that you skip the parents a little bit and you move on as an organization with the girls and with the interventions. So after some time, you find that by the time you're going back to the parents, they actually disown you. They actually say, you're girls, like your age Africa girls. You understand? So it's important also to make sure that the parents should own these girls. They should understand that they are also key stakeholders. They should see what the girls are doing on their day in, day out life. Do they have study plans? Are they following their calendars? Are they writing exams? After writing exams, do they check their progress? And parents are also crucial to ensure that when some of the girls drop down from school, they should be able to follow up and ensure that the girls are enrolled back to school. So if we leave out the parents and we move on with our interventions with the girls and other stakeholders, you find that the parents will leave these youth really onto our hands and they don't take any part. And in the process, you find that there's that gap, parental gap that exists. In the communities where we work, we recognize that we have very strong and powerful supportive system. And we have parents that represent all the students, and we call them the mother support groups. These are the mothers that lives in the community, and these structures are well recognized by the government, and they were set in the community so that they should be the eyes and ears of our civil society. When we are not there, they're able to check the girls. You know, they're able to enforce the rules and the regulations as long as it's any issue to do with access to education for the girls. If the girl is pregnant, they need to make sure that they follow up that girl. Once she delivers, she goes back to school. If she has just dropped for the sake of marriage, they bring them back to school. So community structures are very, very important as well, and not leaving other civil society organizations. As Age Africa, we've been working with the police, paralegals, and some lawyers, so that when we have cases of violence where we cannot be able to reach our hand because maybe we have the capacity, we are able to leave our cases or our girls to seek some readiness through the legal structures. So we have a number of players that we work with on the ground. So it's very important that when we're working, we should be able to recognize, to map the key stakeholders and be able to involve them in anything else that we do, because it helps to advance the quality education for the girls, because the girls, they're not just operating in the vacuum, but they're operating in an environment where there are different key stakeholders that are very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Deborah, do you want to add anything to this about the importance of engaging girls and community stakeholders?
Yes, thank you, Yolanda, for that wonderful contribution. I agree with you on the views that you have just shared with us. I would love to say that it is really very important for us as organization to involve the community leaders in everything that we are planning to do. Why? It's because it helps us to assess whether the interventions we are making are actually working or they are not working. Recently, we had an intervention about the Know Your Rights campaign. It was so wonderful when we were able to get all the parents, the community leaders, the local leaders on ground, and the girls together to see that they are coming up with with one decision or one message towards what we want to achieve. So if we get them all together to come on one board, we are sure that the interventions we are making are right, or we are on the right pace. Then we also need to engage the girls and the community leaders so as for them to know their roles and responsibilities. Their roles and responsibilities. I mean, the girls will know that, yes, I have a right to go to school, but I also have a responsibility to pass. And the parents have the right to educate their children. But again, they also have responsibilities to do. So if we engage them, or if we get them all together and to come on board, we are able to make sure that they all know their roles and responsibilities. Then we also need to get them on board, or to have the girls and community leaders come at the same page to make sure that they get to have their input heard. The girls share their opinions. The parents also share their opinions. The community leaders also share their opinions. So if we get all those opinions, we are able to come up with one decision, or to make a decision as one person, to see that we make the change that we need to see. Thank you.
So how are girls taking center stage in this moment? We'd love to hear more about that. Ineseta, do you want to start?
Yes, Tiffany. Yes, as a result of all the things that we do, one of the agenda, or one of our objectives, is to make the woman have a voice, or do something that even the men and the women can see, because even there are women who believe that they can't do anything. So we engage girls in doing many things in all those programs. In the boys' clubs, we make them feel they are just as loved as the boys. At home, they are helped, so they feel that they are not inferior with the others. And out of that, we help them to think and think out of the box and stand in front of a man and say, I can do this, which was not possible before. And that is what culture was doing. It was preventing the woman from doing everything that she has so as she can show her potential. But with our program, we have seen this happening, and we are very happy when we see our girls participating in the society and everyone in the society accepting and saying, wow, we never knew women could do this. And more so young girls doing things that nobody would expect. For example, we have Cynthia, who is a scholar in our program. She's in her first year university doing mass media, and her goal is to become a social media influencer through poetry. She has written many poems about women's equality. She's the Kenyan Amanda Gorman. And she wishes she could get somebody to sponsor her to go abroad and study. That's her biggest dream. She is such a good writer, and she impresses us. She has written so many. People are so impressed here, and we really feel we have done something. And even the boys around don't tease her around because they know she can easily write a poem about them, and which would put them into some corner. And then we have Donina. Donina is also a scholar who has just finished her university. She now has a degree in education. Right now, she doesn't have a job. She's at home waiting for the government to offer employment. Meanwhile, as she sits at home, she's not idle. She has seen what we have been doing with her all along from when we took her in our primary education up to universities education and finished. And she has admired the way we have been working together, the things that we have been doing to her. She also felt that she would do the same to her other members of the community, whether she has or she doesn't have. Immediately before she left the university, she had vied for the vice chairmanship of the University Students Association, and she won. And using that platform, she started, looking for some assistance from people, things like sanitary pads, which are never enough. And she has supplied 2 schools, girls' schools, with the sanitary towels and some money to purchase food that she has given to the elderly. So when we see them doing that, we are happy, and we believe that they also continue giving back to the community, and that is why we want to empower them, because we can see what they are doing.
We need to have Cynthia join us and share a poem next time we do this.
Sorry.
We need to have Cynthia join us next time.
Yeah.
Yes. Grace, do you have any examples that you would like to share?
Yeah, I would say that if there's a time that you've really seen girls taking the center stage, it's now. And during the COVID-19 period, for the WISA girls, we saw them challenging the norms and even cultural practices within the community. With the SRH skills that they've been able to receive and the trainings and the knowledge on these, they were able to reach out to their peers, training them and even giving information. And what was really impressive is then them coming in and even integrating information on COVID-19 protocols. This is an area where you find, even with the government, the sensitization might not be really high level. So we had our girls going out into the community and basically engaging with their peers, ensuring that they are able to follow even the COVID-19 protocols and give this information to the community. We also saw our alumni also coming in and ensuring that they are supporting the online remote program that we had with WISA, which we had our girls being able to learn at home. For those who did not have smartphones, then they were able even to deliver, the WISA alumni were able to deliver the hard copies to the girls just to ensure that they are not able to, or they will not really miss anything out. And the other thing that we really saw, and as WISA, which is really impressive for us, is them even coming in, the peer educators checking on each other, offering peer-to-peer counseling, even among themselves, and ensuring and checking out on each other, how are they doing? And even as we now connected these and linked these with the home visits, we were able to get updates, even on anything that is happening. And just basically they had a telephone line that they could be able to call in case of any challenges. So for the WISA girls who were even unwell, then they were able even to access health services when they were still at home. And basically just looking at a holistic approach, not being limited by the COVID-19, but ensuring that even we are able to really follow up and ensure that they are able to get all the services that they could have got if they were in school. So basically, we've seen them really coming in. And the other thing that we saw when the schools reopened, in an area that is currently reporting around 37% of teenage pregnancies, we had that with the WISA girls, we had just below 3% of the girls coming back pregnant. So looking at that disparity, the 37 and the 3%, just shows that with the interventions that we've been undertaking, then we've really been able to build their skills, to build them to a level where they can be able even to go against the norms, because this is an area where you'd have that below 7% of the girls will be able even to finish school. And I think what is really impressive is when we had even a shout out from Michelle Obama on one of our girls, Nimon, who is now currently undertaking a STEM course, which was something that was unheard of in this area. And having our girls coming back, then it means that they will be able to continue with their education. They will be able to excel in areas that basically were seen as male-dominated areas. So really a lot happening, and them being at the center, changing the community, changing the perceptions within the community, and even the attitude of the community within Muhuru Bay is something that we are really proud of, even as WISA, as an organization.
Thank you so much. And you know, we launched the Girls Opportunity Alliance with Mrs. Obama, who you've referenced, in order to encourage collaboration among organizations like yours. And that's really the goal of that network, is to connect all of you and help you to scale your work and to share best practices and to work together. So I'd like to hear from you if that feels like that's working, or how this collaboration has helped support you. Yolanda, do you want to jump in?
Yes, thank you so much. Looking at the Girls Opportunity Alliance, it's a family. That's how I look at it. It's a big family that provides a lot of platforms for learning, collaboration, and also expose small organizations to big and greater opportunities. As an organization, as Age Africa, we've benefited a lot through this network. We know now there is WISA. We are able to connect with Asante Creative Arts in Kenya. So whenever we have something that we feel like we need to learn from what our colleagues are doing, or to borrow a page, we are able to reach out to our colleagues in Kenya, in Tanzania, and in other parts of the world, sometimes even in the areas where Asia, you know. So this network, it's one of the biggest network that I've ever seen, that provide opportunities for learning, and also provide opportunities to profile small organizations so that their work can be known and can be able to be appreciated at global level. So that's the greatest thing that I've seen and I'm experiencing as an organization. But also the network has provided some room for helping us to do some fundraising through different mode of fundraising, direct funding, as well as crowdfunding, and also to profile the organizations. For instance, today here we are making some presentation and presenting our work, and on our own, I don't think we could have make it through to the conferences, big conferences, international conferences, if it was not us being the members of the Girls Opportunity Alliance. So we've seen how we've been profiled at a higher level, at international level, where our work, it's really being appreciated. So this network really has shown what it means to profile the girls' education. So to me, as an individual, I've seen that I've been able to uplift the girls' opportunities through the engagement, involvement. We've seen also how, at several occasions, how Madam Michelle Obama has really, you know, being at the front to lead the girls' education programs, but through our work, through involving the young girls from a rural area. For instance, in Malawi, it's one of the smallest country in Africa, but our girls have seen themselves through the Michelle Obama programs, campaigns, and sensitization. So the Girls Opportunity Alliance has given us that platform to grow as organization. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Deborah, did you want to add anything here?
Yes, Tiffany, thank you very much. Thanks, Yolanda. I can't differ very much from you, because the Girls Opportunity Alliance has given Asante Africa Foundation also a platform, to showcase what it's doing, the work that we are doing. And the family is growing. We are getting more and more to be, the visibility is growing. So the Girls Opportunity Alliance has really helped us on that. And we are also seeing that the Girls Opportunity Alliance is helping our adolescent girls gain the confidence when they join these platforms to talk on different platforms. Recently, we just had our girl representing on the Thanksgiving Tuesday day. So Justin, she had all the confidence to communicate and also to talk to different people who are on the call from different parts of the world. So it's so good that we are a family with the Girls Opportunity Alliance. And I would love also not to differ from what Yolanda has said, that it has also helped, like, one way of raising funds. If someone sees what Asante Africa Foundation is doing, they would love at least to contribute something towards a girl, at least to see that they are going to school or they are receiving a sanitary towel. So the collaboration has been really very impactful on our side, and we'd love to say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah. And that's the goal, because none of us can do this alone. And that's why this was formed. And so we hope by using this platform as well, that more connections can be made so that all of you can continue to grow your work. And we're just there to support. So that's really great to hear. And we're going to move to some questions now from those of you watching. If you have any additional questions for any of the panelists, please enter them into the chat, and we'll try to get to as many as we can here at the end. So one that has come in is a follow-up question here to something that was discussed earlier. How are families and communities reacting to girls saying no to the FGM tradition? And are there retaliations from community members for going against tradition? And how do you reconcile tradition and education? Aniseta, do you want to answer that?
Yes, Tiffany, thank you. It was very bad when it started, because when an idea comes and you push it out, people want to analyze and try to understand why you are bringing this idea, and knowing that traditions are, the custodians of traditions are men, women don't do anything. So why are women changing the traditions that the men put in place? Because that's what we believe, and that is what the legends tell us. And what we did and what we have been doing over time with the Women's Global Education project is to do a lot of community education. community education, starting with the leaders, going to the mothers, going to the women, going to the youth. We have even youth peer boys who talk about this new ARP, and talking to everybody, but at different times and different stages and different forums. We don't bring them together, but at times we bring them together when we know that each one of them knows the fact about what we are talking about. So we bring them together and we agree together. They have been, we have had even the leaders in the villages agreeing and signing some memorandums and signing and saying, calling their people and telling them, let us all come for a meeting, and I'll be the chairman of that meeting, and let my village say, we don't want this thing, we want to support the new idea that has been brought by these women. And one of the things that made them accept what we are doing more was the way we emphasized on education. Women never used to go to school, but when a girl went to school and became a nurse, when a girl went to school and became a doctor, and became a policewoman, and became a chief, right now they are chiefs who have gone through the alternative rite of passage. And initially they used to say somebody who has not been cut cannot lead us. She cannot tell us anything. What can she tell us? And she's still a baby. She doesn't know anything. So it has been a long journey working with them, but where we are so far, everybody is now embracing what we are doing. 75% of the people now are embracing what we are doing. To add to that, we know it is unlawful to circumcise women in Kenya, but it is still continues. And to date, there is a presidential decree that is saying by 2022, FGMs should be stopped. So there are even those that have been very adamant are now deciding whether they should change or not, but you're waiting to see what happens with the decree. But as we are continuing with our campaigns. But I'm telling you, even the boys are now saying we can marry girls who are not circumcised, which could not happen that time, because how can you marry a baby? And they used to say those who are not circumcised are immoral. Their libido is very high, it cannot be controlled, so they can't marry such. But today it is being proven the opposite, because many unmarried and circumcised women are now getting married. Since we started the program, it's a long time back, and they have now started seeing what they believed could not happen, and what they believed we are destroying, we are only making it better for them. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Aniseta. Another question that has come in, what type of psychosocial support interventions can we provide to confront mental health at this time? Grace, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, mental health basically is a key issue that needs to be addressed. And with the strain on families, we've had a lot of reports on the girls indicating that they are really stressed out. And for us, one of the things as WISA, what we've been doing, we have a psychosocial support approach where we have a guidance and counseling teacher within the WISA girls who is able to support the girls through this process. And what we've also been working with the peer-to-peer counseling approach, where we have what we call houses of wisdom. With the houses of wisdom, we have girls who are in cohorts, and they're able to come in and also support each other and raise any issue that may require any psychosocial support from the teachers, or even any referral. So we've also established referral mechanism, so that if there is any follow-up that is required, which is at a level where maybe the guidance and counseling teacher may not be able to follow up, then we are working with the health facilities and working even with the children's department to ensure that the referral system works for us and the girls are able to be given the best psychosocial support that they can be able to access.
Thank you, Grace. Would anyone else like to jump in and answer that one about anything that you're working on with regard to psycho support interventions or mental health and how you're handling that?
For the best psychosocial support, the best psychosocial support that we've been providing as Age Africa, our district officers were trained, as well as the mother groups were trained in psychosocial counseling. So we've been relying so much on these teams to, when we had the lockdown, that they were going into the homes of the girls to provide the moral support, and also to have just that one-to-one talk that they used to have maybe when they were at school, so that they can be able to share their anger, their anxiety, their stressful moment, whatever it is that they are facing at home. So after getting the insights from the girls, we were able to identify maybe if there are challenges at home, and then we could talk with the parents. Like, for instance, I gave an example of a child who was sent to be to work as a nanny, as a domestic worker. You know, she explained everything, how it went and all that, and what type of torture she faced when she was working at that home, and all sorts of violence. So we were able to capture those stories because we were visiting the girls in their homes to provide the psychosocial counseling. The other support that our mentors were providing, but also the alumni, they were getting the girls to get organized in their small units in their villages, where they could do all sorts of things, sporty activities, or just helping each other through non-school work and all that. So just to kill the boredomness at home, and to be able to air out some things that they're affecting them, to their fellow young girls, or somebody that they can trust most other than the parents, because there were so much things to do with parents and the communities that they cannot be able to confront them just because they are young, but they could prefer to disclose that to somebody that they see it's of their age, or it's a mentor or an alumni. They would explain, and also we could leave a sum for other supports. For instance, Grace has already alluded to that the reference were being made maybe to the medical people that could provide more support, but at our level, at community level, that's how we were trying to deal with the mental health issues, just to keep them a little bit busy, and give them something that they would love to do within their communities, because we also had some restrictions during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Now, I'm just curious, as we close out, you know, a lot has changed this past year, more than a year. And I'm just curious what you've done during the COVID-19 pandemic that will change the way you do things moving forward. Is there anything that will remain, or are there any lessons that you've learned that will continue? Deborah, I haven't heard from you in a minute. Would you like to take that one?
Sure, yes, Tiffany, thank you very much. So as an organization, as Asante Africa Foundation, we are looking at sustaining the psychosocial support that we have been providing our beneficiaries and their families. I mean, during the pandemic, it was so hard for them to even know whether they are going to go back to school. But as an organization, we're able to provide the learning materials to the girls. So they have been out there in the community and they are learning despite the fact that they are out of the families. So we shall continue to support them with the psychosocial support that we have been giving. We were also able to give them the essential family package, where we give the food and also the hygiene kit for the girls. That was very, very good. And we shall continue supporting our beneficiaries and their families regarding that. Then the constant visits that we have been making, this has been really very helpful for us to keep following up with our beneficiaries, what they have been doing. Also, even when they are at school, because sometimes you might find that when they're at school, you only focus on them when they're at school. But when you go beyond school and go to the community, you are able to interact with the parents, with the community leaders. So the constant follow-ups with our community leaders, with the parents, that is also something that we are looking forward to keep working on.
That's great.
Thank you.
Ineseta, is there anything you'd like to add? I think you're on mute, Ineseta. I can hear you.
Yes, thank you. we have been having our alternative rite of passage ceremonies at a communal place. And we have been bringing many girls together from different corners of the community. But with the COVID, that could not happen anymore. What we started doing was now moving to the villages to have small groups at the village level. And we saw that one is helping more because a group that comes from the alternative rite of passage within a village has more impact than two girls coming from this village, one coming from the other village, because even if the peers want to do anything to this girl or wants to intimidate her or want to do anything, she'll be alone, she'll not have the company. But when they come from one village, all of them, they give each other support. The parents are also there as a group to give them support. And we believe this is something that we are going to continue with. We still get the many numbers, but we have many more visits, many more forums. What we do is we stretch our muscles to do that. We do a lot, it's a lot of work, but having seen the impact or the fruits that we are harvesting from that one, we won't mind the work, but we shall continue doing that one. The other one is on monitoring, looking for our girls. We did a survey during COVID time to know where our girls were. There are those that were saying they were at their aunties. There are those that were saying they were at their grandparents. And we know this is the period or times when they get cut, when they leave their families to go to these other families. So we had to follow them so much to know why they have moved, what they are doing there, when they moved and when they are coming back, whether their parents are aware, so that from that we can judge. Because of the period that the healing takes place, we can know whether maybe somebody would have been subjected to FGM or not. And the other thing is about being pregnant. We also followed them, and fortunately, I'm proud to say that none of our girls dropped from school during this period of COVID. We had about 200 girls in school, and I thank God for that, because it was not because of that. But I believe the interventions we do with the parents, every time meetings with the parents, teaching them good parenting and everything, because we are parents also on the other side, we tell them, your parents supporting your children. I think that's where we succeeded. The other one is about the radios that we gave them, because they don't have gadgets, but we feel the radios are not enough. These girls from these rural areas are disadvantaged, and we are thinking of continuing to monitor them to see how they are using the radios, and at the same time try to give them the smartphones so that they can get to the programs that they could not get to through the video. So we believe that is also something that we are going to pursue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anisata. A question has come in from for Asante Africa. Deborah, can you elaborate about your program's income generating activities?
So income generating activities as Asante Africa Foundation, these are projects that our youth usually start up when we have a model that is, we have a model that we use, the learn, do, teach model. So whenever we teach these young girls about something, they get the knowledge, they learn it. And when they learn the knowledge, that is approximately something like 30%. At 70%, they will have to transit the knowledge through teaching their fellows. And when they teach their fellows, they will get it like at 70%. And when they do, 90% of the knowledge that they learn, they will get it. So the income generating activities, when we train them, they go back through our programs, they go back into their communities, start up projects and earn from them. So that is what we call the income generating activities. Go back, start up something, however small it is, then starting earning from it.
And last question I have for Grace. You're doing a lot of strong work, and everyone watching wants to congratulate all of you on your resilience during this time. So what can we expect for the future? What have you learned from this moment, and how has that prepared you to prepare for the next 5 years? Grace, this one's for you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think this has been a great opportunity to really learn a lot, and really looking at our interventions And I think one of the things that I would say, even as we look into the future, is just about looking at programs that they ensure that there is a holistic program setup itself, but also really work in the community so that they can also step in even when it comes to programming and support on the initiatives that are being undertaken. Then I think the other lesson that is really great is on the role of girls, that they can be able, when you put them in the center, when you really put them as the focus of our programming, there's a lot that we can be able to achieve. And so just building into their skills, building into their knowledge, and building even structures within our programs that are looking at empowering the girls. I gave an example of how the WISA alumni came in even when we had the online remote learning, and they were able even to reach out to their peers, ensure that they're able to access even the materials for education, do their exams, send them on time, sensitizing the community. So the girls remain at the center, and we really need to look into our programmings and ensure that we are able to scale these up, we are able to really step it up and give the girls more voice even as they look into the future, as we look at them as change agents, and as we look at them as people that we can be able, a team that we can be able to build for the future to transform communities and to transform nations.
Thank you, Grace. That was a great way to close. I appreciate all of you. I know everyone listening does. We're so supportive of your work. We celebrate all that you've had to overcome over the past year, and how you continue to work to strive to center girls in your work, even through all obstacles that have come about over the past year. So thank you for sharing all of this with everyone here. And for all those watching, you can find more information on each panelist and their organization on the NGO CSW forum. And you can also join our Girls Opportunity Alliance network to become closer to all these wonderful panelists through the link that is posted here in the chat. So thank you all so much again, and we look forward to hearing more from you all in the months to come.